Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be diving into how you can use the power of small and intentional habits to go from an ordinary life to extraordinary living, and really how micro changes can lead towards life-changing outcomes. So stick around because I'm going to be sharing 7 practical steps and principles that are going to help you to implement those small and intentional habits that can transform your life from that ordinary to extraordinary. Now, these are the strategies I would be using if you were one of my one-on-one clients here in my office. One of my clients who are ready to ignite that spark inside of them and really begin down that path to living a more fulfilled life. Now, let's take a small journey, one that takes us from that mundane routines that we have in our daily life to living with purpose and fulfillment and extraordinary outcomes that we've only ever dreamed of. Now, this sort of a change and transformation, it isn't about the massive leaps, or sweeping changes. It's about the quiet and consistent and the power of those small intentional habits. So maybe you felt stuck, longing for something more and you're unsure where to begin, or perhaps you've started exploring the gifts and your gifts and your superpowers that we talk about inside of my book, The GIVER Method, but you're feeling overwhelmed by the magnitude of the change that you've envisioned. Hey, well, the good news is that extraordinary lives aren't built, on those just grandiose gestures, but the small intentional habits, So let me set the stage and see if any of these resonate with you. Have you felt trapped in your ordinary life, knowing that deep down you're capable of much more? Well, what if I told you that extraordinary living isn't about the dramatic changes? It's about these tiny intentional shifts that compound over time. And imagine waking up each morning feeling energized and purposeful, knowing that every small action you take is building you towards something more meaningful. What becomes possible when you understand that, those extraordinary lives that, they're built on one micro habit at a time. I'm going to share these 7 principles that will help you to not only do all this, but discover gifts and superpowers, create lasting change through those tiny, consistent actions. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I already mentioned I'm the founder and author of a book called The GIVER Method. You can get access to it. I'll put a link down in the description for the video. You can get access to it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, a bunch of other places internationally. It's now available in not only the US and Canada, but the UK and Australia, and starting to pop up all around the world in other locations. So I'll include the Amazon link though, so you can go get your own copy of that once this video is done. Now, today's journey, isn't just about that personal transformation. It really is waking up to the potential that you have and stepping into this extraordinary life of impact and purpose. My plan is to share these principles that are rooted in the Spark framework as well as the GIVER method. And these are, once again, actionable, inspiring, designed to help you to unlock this full potential. If you're ready to discover how these micro changes lead to life-changing outcomes, then stick around. Now, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We don't want you to miss out on any of the content we have that we put out there about unleashing your gifts and creating more impact. And with that, let's dive into these 7 principles. I don't want to waste any more time for transforming ordinary moments into those extraordinary outcomes. Now, the first one is that you have to shift your perspective. Now, this is foundational for personal change and transformation anyway. The way we see the world directly influences our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our outcomes. Often we operate under, the limiting belief, that we have, limiting beliefs we have, the stories that we've internalized over time that tell us what we can't do or what we're not. Now, this belief, it does stem from past failures or societal expectations or sometimes self-imposed standards, creating invisible barriers that keep us really tethered to an ordinary life. And by learning to challenge and reframe these thoughts, you open the door to all sorts of new possibilities where you can unlock, this growth-oriented mindset. These shifts, are not only about, ignoring the challenges. Like, it's not just about ignoring things, but it's about actually seeing them through the lens of opportunity and growth. This sort of a perspective, like when you shift it, has power for you because it shapes, how you approach obstacles moving forward in the future. A growth mindset allows you to see those challenges as stepping stones and rather than the roadblocks that often people see. And when you change your inner dialogue, you reprogram how you interpret and react to external events. Shifting your perspective is not about becoming unrealistic. It's about recognizing that the stories that you've told yourself, are just, are just that, stories. They're malleable. They can be rewritten to reflect the potential rather than the fears that have been there. And, to use this sort of an idea, you begin with, you have to use some sort of a mindful reflection. You start by identifying one belief that maybe has consistently held you back. Now, this could be something like, I'm not a leader, or I'm bad at learning new things. Like whatever it is, write down whatever it is and explore the origins. Ask yourself, is this belief based on evidence or assumption I've carried, without questioning it? And then pair that with sort of visualization exercises. Imagine yourself thriving in these areas where you currently feel limited. And then picture possibilities that open up when you challenge a belief. Affirmations like that you tell yourself can be practical tools to help you support yourself in that process as well. Like really, once you identify a limiting belief, creating affirming statements, that reflect the opposite helps so much. You repeat these affirmations daily to reinforce new perspectives. And in moments of doubt, revisit them. Remind yourself that growth happens through the effort and intention that you're doing. This is so important because the way that you perceive challenges directly impacts your ability to overcome them. And when you shift that mindset, you create these opportunities for growth and discovery. Perspective, it influences not just our actions, but the energy and the enthusiasm for tackling different life's hurdles that come along our way. When you challenge your limiting beliefs, you become more adaptable and resilient and willing to step into the unknown. This sort of a change doesn't just elevate your personal growth, it inspires those around you to question their own stories and reimagine what's possible. In essence, like your willingness to shift your perspective, it can honestly create ripples of encouragement and empowerment for others to change their own limiting beliefs and embrace their own potential. Now, the second one is going to be that you need to ponder and really deeply think on what is your purpose. Purpose is the heartbeat of extraordinary living. It's the reason behind our actions. It's the force that really propels us forward even when challenges arise. And without a clear sense of purpose, even the most productive habits could feel almost hollow or aimless. Purpose is not only necessary for achieving grand and sweeping goals, but it's about connecting to what matters most to you on that personal level so that you can live authentically. When it's nurturing relationships, contributing to your community, or expressing yourself through art, like purpose, it's that foundation for a more fulfilled life. It acts as a compass, helping us prioritize your actions and decisions that align with what your true value is. The beauty of this sort of idea, the beauty of purpose is that it is deeply personal and it evolves and changes as you grow over time. Now, it might be a simple desire like creating a stable life for your family or finding joy in your hobbies, and expanding into including larger missions such as, I want to mentor others, I want to championship some sort of a cause. And when you take time to explore your purpose and really unlock deeper understanding of yourself, and your motivations, this will, provide clarity that fuels not only your goals, but also your daily habits. It really changes them into intentional steps towards a much more meaningful life. Purpose bridges that gap where you are, where you are and where you aspire to be, and it anchors you with what truly matters. And so you connect with your purpose, you create those intentional moments where, once again, you reflect and you set aside what's that quiet time to consider what excites you, what fulfills you, what leaves you feeling the most alive. Ask yourself questions like, what am I passionate about? And what impact do I want to leave in the world? And then write those down, journal them out. It can help you to get clarity within your thoughts. Another useful exercise is you could use things like a purpose map. On one side of the map, list your values and passions and strengths. And on the other side, list out specific goals or areas where you want to apply those. You can really identify your purpose, because you want to revisit key moments in your life that left those lasting impressions for you. These reflections, they start to make an impact. Reflect on the times where you felt deeply fulfilled when you overcame significant challenges. Like, think about it. What did these experiences teach you about yourself? What you value, or what is your purpose? Where does it show you? These sort of reflections identify those patterns and themes that pinpoint your purpose. Visualize your ideal day, where you're fully immersed in your actions. Align your purpose, begins with those small and meaningful steps, that you can take to start doing that. Purpose serves as that source of resilience. When challenges arise, your purpose gives you the reason to just keep going, grounding you in that bigger picture. Living with purpose inspires others to seek out their own why. And when you align your actions with your values, you just naturally model what it looks like to live intentionally. Now, this not only enriches your own life, but it also creates that ripple effect of positive change and inspiration to those around you. Purpose-driven living, really does create those connections. They build trust. It demonstrates the power of those consistent actions tied toward more meaningful goals. And so you ponder your purpose by acting on it, and you set the stage for this extraordinary life to live and be filled with intention and fulfillment. And more impact by doing so. Now, our third one is that you have to awaken to reality that's actually going on around you. Many people, they go through life on autopilot, unaware of the habits and choices that really do shape their reality. And really waking up to that reality means shifting from that unconscious routine to mindful awareness of your actions and the impact that you can make. This sort of an idea, like, it involves observing how you spend your time and your energy and your attention, and whether those investments align with the life that you want to create. Often there are those distractions like excessive screen time or reactive decision making that pulls us away from meaningful goals. Becoming aware of these types of patterns is the first step in reclaiming your time and aligning your values. Awakening to the reality that's actually happening around you. It's not about like this immediate overhaul, but it's really about creating that curiosity and self-awareness. This sort of a process is really to encourage you to question whether your daily habits support or hinder your aspirations. Awareness is transformative because it brings the hidden pattern to light. It shows you what's actually there, allowing you to make more intentional adjustments. And when you observe your life through that sort of a lens, you gain clarity on what truly matters. You create that foundation for extraordinary living. So to begin your process of like awakening reality, adopt a practice of mindfulness, whatever that could look like. Now, you could set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on your actions, your thoughts, your emotions. You can journal, of course, that's always a powerful tool in the process. And then write down questions to, reflect on and ask yourself, like, what choices today reflect my priorities? Or did I spend my time in the ways that support what my goals are? And this practice, as you go through that, helps you to recognize whether you're aligned or where you need to have adjustments made, based off what you're trying to do. Pair this up with quiet moments of introspection where you can simply observe your thoughts without judgment, allowing those patterns that you may have to surface naturally. Now, another really effective way to really awaken to reality is to conduct a time audit. Maybe for 1 week, just track how you spend your time in a notebook or on an app, and then document everything from, what are the work tasks, what were the leisure activities, and be as honest as possible that you can. Document all of those different pieces. At the end of the week, you review it, and your data will identify trends that you may see there. Are your tasks, activities, things you're doing that constantly drain your energy or pull you off track? Or are there moments where you just felt really alive and really focused? And then take those insights that you could have and create a clearer picture of how your choices shape your day. And that sort of a process helps you to stay mindful and adaptable as you work towards those extraordinary, more extraordinary living. Awakening to reality, it's so important because it really does bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And when you become conscious observer of life, you empower yourself to make more informed choices, to practice, this. You start to build more clarity and focus and deeper understanding, and deeper connections to what your goals are, helping you use your time and energy in ways that really do matter. It sets the stage for more authentic growth. And when you align those actions and your values, you're not only transforming your own life, but you can inspire others around you to do the same. And this way, awakening reality is not just a personal journey, but it's a path that really does create, a collective growth and connection. And, you step out of that autopilot and create this life filled with purpose and possibility, laying the groundwork for, extraordinary outcomes. Now, our fourth one is going to be that you have to realize what your potential is. It starts by embracing what your strengths and your abilities are that make you unique. I refer to them as gifts and superpowers. Often, these are identified through those moments of ease and joy, or, and are the keys to unlocking extraordinary impact that you can make. Your potential isn't limited to the skills that you've already developed. It includes these untapped abilities that you have waiting to be discovered through curiosity and practice. And so to fully realize what your potential is, you have to shift your mind from merely recognizing your own talents as they are and actively applying them in more meaningful ways. It's, in this consistent use of these strengths that you really begin to see how they shape that path and influence others around you. You can reflect a lot on this, as a part of the process by looking back on your achievements and consider the skills and qualities that contributed to those successes. Did you demonstrate creativity or empathy or strategic thinking? Equally important is the feedback that you could receive from others, because often it highlights those abilities that we may take for granted. These sort of insights can affirm your gifts, but also reveal areas where, your potential could be expanded. And when you align those strengths with your interactions, you can create that ripple effect that really does extend beyond what our immediate, sphere of influence is. Now, as you put this into practice, once again, more reflection and self-assessment you can do by going through and journaling recent accomplishments and looking at the roles that you play in achieving them. Write out, what felt effortless, what energized you as a part of that. And if you find this challenging, ask a friend or family member or colleague to help you out with it. It's going to provide a clearer picture of the unique qualities that you bring to the table. And then you use this awareness to identify what are the situations where these gifts could create value, whether it's at work or in a relationship or within your community, and then start creating that plan of how you're then going to go and apply that into the real world. These deliberate actions not only reinforce your confidence and demonstrate the power of your gifts in real world scenarios, but just continue to build the authenticity in the way that you deliver value to others. Realizing your potential is, there's so much that could go into that, and it's so important because it connects your abilities with meaningful action. It transforms passive recognition into this active contribution, allowing you to see firsthand the difference that you can make. Even more than that, like when you act on your potential, you inspire others to recognize their same, which is all about that ripple effect that we talk about all the time. Your courage to act on your strengths serves as a model for others, showing that extraordinary outcomes are within reach when we embrace who we are and take that purposeful action. This sort of alignment of gifts and actions leads to that personal fulfillment, deeper connections, better contributions, and leaving lasting legacy of growth and giving to those around you. Now, our fifth one is that, you have to start small and build consistency. This whole idea of these micro habits. Lasting change begins with those small actions, the micro habits that just may seem insignificant in isolation, but when you put them all together, the impact leads to these extraordinary changes and transformations. Consider simple act of drinking water first thing in the morning. It may appear to just be trivial, yet over time, this habit forms mindfulness and hydration and health. Simply committing to 5-minute walk can evolve daily exercise routines into, improving physical and mental well-being. Like, small actions are sustainable because they require minimal effort. They reduce resistance and they increase the likelihood of follow through. And then consistency to that amplifies the power of the small habit. When you show that you're, even daily making that minor progress, you create that rhythm that just builds momentum. And over time, you see these tiny habits become, atomic and requiring little mental energy while yielding significant benefits. The beauty of starting small lies in its accessibility. No matter where you are, no matter how busy or overwhelmed it may feel, there's always room for a single intentional action. So begin by identifying the areas of your life where you'd like to see change, and then reflect on what feels manageable and meaningful. If you're aiming for better physical health, commit to a single push-up in the morning and work from there. Whatever that could be, identify the habit and then set clear intentions around what that practice is. Associating that habit with an existing routine you already have, like brushing your teeth and preparing morning coffee, it can act as that trigger within your mind to go and do that thing. Integrating this habit into your life is, more effective than, when you keep it easy and repeatable. So once again, start small and just work your way from there. Choose this week, what's one small habit you want to focus on, and write down and place a visual reminder where you'll see it daily, and then track your progress and reflect on how things came from that. Always, always, always celebrate the small wins along the way, whether it's 5 consecutive days of practice or simply the effort to try again after missing a day. Consistency matters because it creates that foundation for growth and transformation. Small habits done regularly establish that momentum, proving to yourself that change is possible. When you start small and remain consistent, you cultivate that resilience and confidence and trust in your ability to shape your life. It's important because extraordinary outcomes are accessible to anyone, regardless of where they're starting. You break the overwhelming idea into, and transform it into that manageable, more achievable steps. You focus on what you want to do today. Eliminate the pressure. Don't worry about perfectionism, and replace it with a sense of what's possible. Through consistent actions, you embody this idea of greatness that, it's not just about the grand gestures, but it's about showing up every day, ready to take one more step forward than where you were before. Now, our next one is you have to kindle your passion. Passion is what gives life its spark. It's the energy that fuels your actions, turning, the most mundane tasks into meaningful, pursuits. That passion, it connects you with what truly matters, what brings you joy, and the purpose within your journey. When you're passionate about something, challenges seem like stepping stones rather than obstacles. It's not just about enjoying the activity itself. It's about, the way it aligns with your values and it fulfills your inner drive, whether it's creating art or mentoring others or solving any sort of a problem. Passion is going to transform and upgrade ordinary efforts into those extraordinary contributions. Kindling that passion begins with reconnecting with what excites and inspires you. And over time, life demands, can push these activities aside, leaving you feel disconnected from where you're at. And the passion often lies found in those activities that you lose yourself in. The ones that you make time fly by, that leave you feeling energized. It's an essential part of living life that feels rich and meaningful. It reminds you of who you are and why your unique gifts matter. So passion isn't just a luxury, it's the cornerstone of fulfillment and impact. Like, to kindle that passion, identify what are the activities and interests that you feel the most alive. Continue to reflect on them. Write down these experiences and consider, what they reveal about your interest and the values you have. And then dedicate time each week to immerse yourself in that sort of an activity. Treat this time as sacred, free from distractions, and focus solely on what brings you joy and fulfillment. This consistency is going to help you build on that passion to grow from maybe just a small flicker into a large flame. Making time for that passion, is about creating the space for it in your life, and knowing that it's one of the things that matters most. So start small if necessary, even if it's only for 15 minutes a day, and then continue on from there. Living without passion feels like you're not going through the motions. It leaves you life feeling flat and uninspired. And you embrace your passions, you not only enrich your own life, but you create those ripples for others. When you engage enthusiastically, and it becomes contagious to those around you. So passion anchors you during those times of uncertainty. It provides you that source of renewal and strength, reminding you of what's possible when you align with your deepest values. Really creating and developing that passion is more about that personal joy. It's about living fully and sharing that vitality with others. You kindle your passion, you create life that's not only extraordinary for yourself, but it's meaningful to all those that you come in touch with along the way. And of course, our seventh one is aligning your habits with a long-term vision. When life becomes busy, it becomes easy to lose sight of those larger goals. So focus on the immediate tasks and forget about how they connect with the big picture. Align whatever habits you have with your long-term vision. It really does begin to bridge that gap. It ensures that your daily actions build towards something meaningful. This sort of idea, it isn't about taking massive leaps. It's about making the deliberate, intentional choices that support whatever your future is. Each small habit, when aligned with a vision, becomes a stepping stone on that path to extraordinary living. An aligned life feels purposeful because your actions are rooted in what truly matters. And when your habits reflect your core values and your aspirations, you gain significant, the significance beyond whatever the moment is. And, this sort of idea, as you align yourself, it helps you whether, the distractions and challenges could try to put you off course. It keeps you focused on the journey and keeps you focused on being intentional. You align those habits with your vision and you begin with that clarity. Set aside time to imagine what the ideal future would be. How much detail can you get about that? And then set aside time, where you continue to reflect on what you want to achieve, how you want to grow, and what's the kind of impact you want to have. Write them down and then start creating whatever that clear picture is for your long-term vision. Once you have the foundation, what habits can I do that support it, that continue working me down that path? Creating an alignment, which requires, it's going to require you assessing, what am I currently doing? And you observe and record how you spend your time and look for those patterns where your habits maybe serve or don't serve what your long-term goals are. Maybe there's some that are detracting you away. This sort of process connects your daily actions with that bigger picture, making it easier to make those adjustments and prioritize what you're trying to do as a part of that. When you align your habits with your vision, you create a life of intentionality and growth. It's not just about achieving your goals, but it's about living each day in a way that reflects the values and aspirations that you have. It inspires confidence in your ability to create meaningful change and provides a framework for that continuous progress. Each habit becomes that thread in the fabric for extraordinary life, weaving that story of purpose and resilience and fulfillment all around you. Living an extraordinary life, it isn't about overnight transformation. It's about that small, intentional habits that align with your gifts, your purpose, and your vision. It's built through the tiny, intentional shifts that compound over time. When you embrace these principles we talked about of micro change, you create sustainable momentum toward the biggest goal while maintaining consistency needed to have a lasting transformation. Remember, extraordinary lives, they aren't created by that occasional grand gesture, but by the accumulation of impact of small and purposeful actions. So each tiny habit that you start to develop, reflection moment you have, active giving, anything like that becomes the building blocks towards that journey of greater impact and fulfillment. Now, if you want to dive deeper into living a fulfilled life, to discovering and developing gifts and superpowers, once again, this is the time where you go down into the description. You get yourself a copy of the book, The Giver Method. I'll have the link to Amazon for you, so you can go and get that. It's that complete guide to unlocking your superpowers, creating meaningful impact through consistent, intentional actions. If this video, if it helped you, if it resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with someone else you might feel could benefit from it. Leave a comment below telling me which principle resonated with you the most, or maybe what's the micro change you're committed to starting today. And with that, I'll just say until next time, keep growing, keep giving, and remember that extraordinary living happens one tiny choice at a time. And so make that first choice today and start working your way towards sparking and igniting that inner passion and getting yourself to that point where you can live that extraordinary life. With that, have a great rest of your day. We will catch you in our next video.